And the first to have a look at is GVT Alfheim. At the bottom left who is the Loki of their team, and yep, he sees the standard hand here at the top, and also it seems like they will be having a pretty good spawn of hippos. You see right at the left here. Moving on to other GVTs, and that's a blue one right now in the pocket. That's Hades, so it could be kind of interesting for him to go possibly some faster mythic into Hephaestus. That is a god Hades has. And otherwise, he seems to be having quite a lot of gold. Right here at the back, the standard one and the one right next to the tower, so he should be kind of safe on the gold department. The last one from GVT is Tado, who is the farthest away from his teammates. You can see that teal and blue on the minimap are very close. They have a straightforward way between them, but Tado is kind of cut off, so possibly might be having a bit harder time there playing. Also sees the hippo here for some extra food, so if he is forced to be in his base through some raiding, he's kind of fine. So moving on the Sheltie, that's the first from DoD. Also gold right next to his base, and the hippos here in clear line of sight, so pretty much fine as well. And this wood line could serve as a decent protection, because that's really low, and especially with the tower right there, it could really serve as a pretty good spot to defend against this green enemy from the bottom. And he will be easy to wall. Well, easy. It will still be quite a long wall, but at least he knows that the enemy will be coming from just one side if he puts a wall here. So, kinda decent. Moving on, next one, briefcase. As Oranos is playing pocket, hunting on his usual spot. And otherwise, okay, this seems like a couple of water buffaloes there. So that's instead of the hippos. And can he see the hippos somewhere? Not yet. But he sees a gold here, and the hippos are here at the back, so that's kind of okay as well. The last one from DoD is Poker Star. That's their ISIS. He's also gathering in the middle of his base, and well, so far he sees just the hippos at the back and not really any gold, just this one. So he better hope that there's some extra in the darkness here. Anyway, right now we can look at the TCs, and this one, that's a third from Star. Or is it? It's actually third from Alfheim, and this seems like third from Star. But anyway, this is basically between him and Alfheim. It will be pretty important for both of those players, because once any one of them controls this TC, he will have a highway right into the enemy's base, to yellow or into teal. So that's going to be pretty important. You can see that Loki is already building temple in his base, so he's thinking about advance. And other TCs, this is kind of okay for a red. This is also Shelties, it seems. So gods have TCs third more into the middle of the map, into strategical positions, whereas green and teal have kind of important TCs, because they will be kind of gateway to the basis of each guys, but this kind of not that much as this left one. This will be a very important one. Anyway, as you look at advances, Tadao won't be, because that's probably going to be a standard fast heroic from ISIS. You can see that V-Greek now is just building temple, so he will be a bit slower into classical, or a bit slower. 5-minute advance is okay. And Alfheim is already clicked in, so it's going to be like 440. But, well, you better not spend his time standing around and idling his release. Anyway, moving on to dots. How is it with advances? Just now building temple, and pretty decent spy here from teal, as it will allow him to see where Pokestar is actually gathering gold, which is the most important stuff for Egi. And yep, Sheltie just now acknowledging that his internet is not really doing all that great. In the meantime, briefcase is already clicked into Prometheus, 10%, so that's going to be like 430 as well, so that's pretty decent, similar to V-Greek now. Or sorry, teal, that's Alfheim. And how's it looking here? Sheltie as Loki from dots, just not yet advancing. So he has a temple up, but he'll be a bit slower than his counterpart on GVT side. This gives us a time to check the relics. Better human soldier pierce armor. That will be pretty sweet. And well, somebody should be picking it up. And better siege weapon cost. Nice. Probably better for the Eggy in their team. Buildings crush armor. Alright, better health is always welcome. We'll just kill enemies in single shot. That's not all that great in this map. And the scout unit LOS, that's useless as well. And this one. 10% hero speed, that's actually pretty nice. That could be useful for Atlanteans especially, because once they upgrade their units into heroes, and especially in Turmas, they could be pretty fast for raiding. That wouldn't be bad at all. Next one, 2 lions, so potentially some early aggression. This one, better wall hit points, but usually it would be a good one, but the only one right now walling is Poker Star. Nobody else is really building any walls, like literally 0 walls all along. Which is kinda interesting. You usually see players building walls as soon as they can. But, well, not interested. Alright. But Archer Ballista, Cherry Ballista, better range, that's pretty great. And could be especially useful for this Hades, who is bound to spam some of his archers. But it's actually been stolen by Tadao, and possibly could go for Chariot Archers, which I think could be affected by this as well. Not really sure, but could be. Because otherwise I'm not really sure why he would be picking it up. So, we are trying to save, and is it fixed or is it not? Okay, see, it seems like GVTs are asking for replacement on DoD's roster, but at the same time they just clicked into continue GVT Alfheim, so they might be able to play the game to the full. I'm not really sure if the luck is all that there, because I have a feeling that Observer doesn't see the luck the same as the players themselves. Because otherwise I don't really see all that much luck, if any, at all. And we see some first attack here from Alfheim, who has just missed Poker Star Sphinx, that is going for some raiding as well. So let's see what he finds right now. He will find the tower, but will he attack it? No, he's just going around, trying to see where the valleys are, which he actually knows, so it's kinda not sure where he was going. Extra TC, but thanks to the position of all those valleys and barracks being built, you can see that this is not really going for some fast heroic from PokerStar, and he will most probably be going TC. Right now it seems that way. And how's it looking at the right? With Alfheim not really doing any substantial damage there. That's Shelty trying to emulate him and going into Green's base. And how's it looking for Tadao? Is he building? Yeah, he's building armory, so that's a standard fast heroic from his ISIS. Vault at least through buildings. And this means that Shelty will have a freeway into Blue's base, who is right now forced to retreat. With his release, that's a good job that he did not continue. He's going for those hippos, and at the same time he has built a second TC, so he's going for some decent echo there. Right now he's going for horses though. That's kinda interesting considering his 80s. Especially when you see this army, so I would kinda expect him to switch into archers pretty soon. But anyway. Also, Red is trying to raid Teal. So Teal is having his hands full, so he's trying to raid his enemies, but right now he's raided pretty hard, and he's not having any help from his blue teammate right now, which means that Purple is joining forces with Red, and right now it's going to be a double. Bit of scouting from the Oracle. Where the double is actually going. Seems to be all going on this guy. So, is he building at least towers right now? Should be aware that he is under attack, and I would kinda guess that sentinels will be popped here to help until the towers are up. Pretty decent raiding from Teal and Red. A few very paid with their lives, but not really all that enough right now it seems. I'm really curious when the towers will be coming up, because they definitely have to, once he knows that he is being doubled right now. and Turmas caught by Teal army. So a bit of damage will be dealt. And pretty sweet spawn in the Valkyrie. That's the one he wanted. We actually get those Turmas there. So good job. Blue joining in the fun and repelling the double. And this means that on the right... Oh yeah, classical army from Tadao is trying to raid. So that's an Aggie raiding. Classical age. Okay, that's a new one. That's a new one right there. And is he advancing into Nephthys? Yep, he is. So he's going for faster heroic and at the same time already building classical army. So pretty good job. And he's already booked in the middle and will be looking to deprive Shelty of his 30C, I think. At the same time, how's it looking with yellow? He is booming indiscriminately right now. He's not really having any opposition. He's allowed to do anything he wants. And his teammates are to thank for that. Right now they are switching the raid to be Greek now. Is it maybe because of the towers? No, still no towers. Still no towers to protect himself, and at this point I'm actually thinking they won't even be coming up. Because... why? Because why? And that means that Teal is right now able to push into the yellow, who was trying to secure the 30C from his opponent, but he's kind of made rethink that idea and will be pushed into his base. You can see that PokerStar is building armory, so he will be interested in advancing. And let's have a look at the right side, where Tada was able to build the crucial first Migdol, covering his gold and at the same time a TC. And he has a pretty decent army, so he could be taking the fight away from his teammates and taking it right into possibly Purple's base. Fuzzy's into Braggy 70% and building houses around his towers, so it will be pretty hard to actually take down with all that extra fire from those towers and the TC. But Taro is still going to give it a shot. And camels are joining in. That's an interesting unit to use, but kinda makes sense, because you can see that Shelty is trying to switch into some raiding cavalry. So it's a pretty good call from Taro, I think. And siege towers are in. So the true fun will begin at the right. Right now, he can't really cast the Ancestors because of all those heroes, so with a bit of micro briefcase would be able to kill them very easily. But still, it might come, and just now the towers are here, and that should mean that Taro should rethink what he is doing right now. As you can see, that there's two guys in the base here, a lot of extra damage into the units. And yeah, still he goes for it, and really, it's really bad timing, because right now you can see that Briefcase has joined the battle with the other flank of his army, and he will be killed, even though Blue just joins, and that gives another dynamic to this fight. We just turn the battle around into some kind of GVT's favor, but still not exactly sure if that will really be some kind of strong favor. Because right now those piggies will be pretty strong. And even though Tarao has some priests. Well. Where is Blue? Is he lost everything? No, he's just trying to catch some extra willies here. So that was pretty good job. And some extra army. Purple has just fled. And Blue is finally joining with Tadao. The Ancestors are already dead, so that's army gone, but still the siege towers are not being challenged. And they are able to house right now the purple enemy. So that's a pretty good, decent job there. Pretty decent job there. So they have to be taking it slow though. And at the end, well, it's kind of a stalemate. GVT can't really push into the base, but at the same time, DoDs can't really defend them all that much because of the combination of this army. And it's not like this bird should be really all that great, especially because of the priest here. But right now, the sheer numbers are doing their job, and that's because Blue is not really resupplying his army, just sending everything from his base, and he's really slow to do so. And right now he's finally switching into some toxots. He's still pulling it all from his army. He should really build some military buildings right next to green if he wants to do something serious with it. At the same time, on the left, you can see that PokerStar is finally being to steal the 30C from Alfheim, who is right now trying to build his second. And, well, he has some army here. He has advanced into Bragi, as everybody is in Heroic, but still not exactly sure he has enough here. Quite some decent axemen, but he will be just in time to kill this. And, well, I'll have it clicked and switch into the right because flaming weapons have been cast. And Alfheim and PokerStar's ancestors are going in. They are going in where? Ah, here. Yep. So that's here, and that's a huge battle here. And Nemean Lion, that means mythical age from, or not? No, that's just from Aphrodite. Sorry, I just mixed it with what is it? Chimera, I think. That's from Artemis. And we also see Big Greek now caused some restoration. That was probably on the left because it wasn't here. So yeah, that was probably on the left to help his steel teammate. And this means the dots have successfully pushed through the forward base of GVT. That's a pretty bad setback because Tadao will right now lose both gold and 2 Migdols, which is pretty bad for him, as he will have to rebuild some Migdol and he's not doing so anywhere. Maybe here? Yeah, Migdol here. So, returning back to the left, you can see that PokerStar has safely built the TC, and Alfheim is forced to retreat, and that's also because of mercenaries being used. And I'm not really thinking that Yellow should be having any problem pumping enough mercenaries, because, quite frankly, he wasn't bothered at all in the Classical, and he was allowed to freely boom. And by this Miguel, he will secure another goal right there. That's probably some idols. Yep, idols, and at the same time being killed by the red raid, so good job right there. And I just wanted to look here, and that's a bit of echo, and the raid is starting to emerge from the yellow again. So, deal again a bit too late to take down the Migdol, or actually prevent it from being built, and those pigs though still could take it down if he plays it correctly. But he doesn't really seem too interested in that, and that allows Yellow to build enough priests to actually repel them and make Teal retreat into his base. In the meantime, at the right, a huge battle is moving into blue right now, because you can see that this middle of the map is definitely secured for dots, and right now Shelty is taking fourth TC, that's third from Shelty, and third from Tadao has been stolen, which means that Tadao is right now at 2 TCs, and having all kinds of trouble right now, because this should mean that Shelty should be able to 1v1 him very nicely. Well, this was kind of interesting attack here. Now you can see that blue has enough army to repel him together with those sentinels, so no luck here, and he will have to move somewhere safe and somewhere better, and he does. And for some reason blue wasn't really paying all that much attention and pursuing him all that greatly, or reasonably well, which means that Alfheim will pay with this TC, because those piggies and those archers will have time to take it down. And just then, when they do... Yep, au revoir! And Teal is having a pretty bad time right now, because he's been doubled from both sides. From right it's purple, from left is a huge army from PokerStar, who is trying to build a forward Migdol right there. And Vigrik now has right now advanced into Artemis, and you can see also a Tartarian gate from Briefcase. They all converged on one poor guy, and that's Alfheim right now. Tartarian gate almost dead, but on the right side you can see that Taro is doing all he can to stop Briefcase, who is right now 4 TCs and going into him full strength. Well, right now he's just switching sides, so they are probably thinking about doubling or even tripling the left side. And we have An interesting earthquake. That's to make sure they drop to just 2 TCs, and what's more important, to actually allow Tadao to free the TC and take it for himself. So this is a pretty important part of the game. Because if Tadao is able to pick it really fast and defend it, he could be well in the game. On the left though, Alfheim is having all kinds of trouble, obviously, because he's having a purple army here, a lot of yellow. And blue is right now trying to help him, but still it's kinda slow. And at least now he's trying to build some fortress here from Hades, and that should be a pretty decent defense for him. So, right now this situation should be kinda contained for GVT, but it doesn't really seem like that. And Vigrik now is building Titan. Alright, so do DoDs have some kind of response to that? Not yet. Possibly PokerStar could have some meteors if he advances soon, or Shelty. Well, Shelty shouldn't be really having anything interesting right there. So that's Red's army, not really doing enough, as it's being caught by Vigrik now. And they are trying to do at least some damage to those Willies, and that was a pretty good catch, at least killing the Ox card, because that means that all those Dwarfies will go a whole long way to the DC there. But at the same time you can see that PokerStar is doing pretty decently. Slowly but surely eating into Teal's base, and is something interesting going on the right side. Well, Tadao has been able to secure his 3rd TC, so right now he's in a good position, and is trying to make life difficult for Briefcase and put him out of his 4th TC at least. But he is kinda prepared here, and he doesn't really have to go a long way to replenish his army, so it will need a better army than what Tadao has. He has absolutely no upgrades, and how's it looking for Red? Yeah, he has pretty decent ones, so that really shouldn't be going into his favor, to Green's favor, even with mercenaries in there, I think. A bit of raiding here, just seeing that Alfheim is building his 3rd TC again, or rather 2nd. Still no upgrades, and how's he looking for yellow? No upgrades as well. That's kind of surprising considering he's been having a pretty decent time of booming, or at least we're allowed to do so. How's it looking with blue? Well, at least the baseline, so that's better than nothing. And Shelty. That's a good plan. Good plan to cast the Nidhogg right there on this battlefield, because as you know, Alfheim as a Norse have all kinds of troubles with dealing with flying units, and right now blue is not really ready for that either. Even though he has some Toxos there, it's not really enough. So that's left going for dots, and right now going for dots as well, because Shelty is switching sides and it's not really helping PokerStar at all on the left, and right now it's double on Tadao. And that's not really good news for him. With all those destroyers, that should be a pretty decent raiding party on TCs, and that should be getting Vigrik now as by surprise. And right now we have Thoth. But it won't be enough. It won't be in time for this Titan. I'm just curious if it is going to help. Probably the better place would be at the left, to at least try and help Alfheim, because I'm kinda thinking that Tadao, the Titan here wouldn't really do all that much, considering Purple is building a lot of Hersirs, and is having those guys again there. And yep, according to minimap it looks like he's going to the left, but this will kinda hang in the balance. If Tadao can somehow defend himself, he should at least build a lot of towers here and prepare himself some kind of buildings or some such, because otherwise he won't be really able to stop the push from Purple. You can see that Red is switching sides from red to left, from right to left, joining with a lot of yellow army. And even though we see that Vigrik now is full on here, we don't really see all that many units from Alfheim, and it's more or less just blue fighting by himself right now. So Nidhogg will be soon dead, just through the Chiron, and those Toxots but, well, I'm not really thinking that Blue can win this by himself. He is Mythical Greek, but that's not like that's enough when you are being doubled. Especially you can see that Poker Star is at 40 Cs, briefcase as well. And Cheldy, well, he at least helped with the Nidhogg there. So this more or less looks like 8 TCs versus like 5 right now. So that's not really all that great. And Tadao lost another TC. And that was the base one, and that was because of this raiding party. Yep, so that's pretty decent. And right now, Tadao is actually at 0 because there were 2 raiding parties from Briefcase, and they both took down Tadao's TCs. And the purple is making sure that Tadao is not really able to come into the game, and that's a GG again, and Dots lead into 0. Pretty decent play right there. At the start of the game, it looked like that Tadao on the right could do something together with Blue on the purple base, but it kinda didn't work out all that well with timely help from red, and on the left, Alfheim just didn't do enough on the yellow. Yellow was just booming without any worry. He just wasn't attacked at all, and when he was, well, he was already pretty much ready with at least some classical army there. Well, GG, and 2-0 for Dots, so let's have a look at the post game. Greek now had the best score. Well, he did a lot of killing there in the middle, so. And not a bad echo either. Kinda interesting. But, well, it seemed like he wasn't at the right places at the right time. He was battling there at the top with Tadao, but had his military buildings very far away, so he wasn't really able to replenish his armies, and that's what caused them the battle at the top. And on the left, he was kind of not fast enough in helping Alfheim, I think. But still, pretty decent game from him. Yep, you can see Greek now in Poker Star. Pretty decent population all around the game, all along. So, good job.